What if a house could remember every scar, every secret, every mistake you've ever made? Not just remember, but make you relive it until it breaks you. Tonight, 5 friends will learn that in the house at the edge of town, the deadliest ghost isn't what lives there, it's what you've been trying to forget. Welcome back, everyone. And if you're new here, you've just stepped into the dark side of stories where nightmares breathe. Tonight's tale isn't just about a haunted house, it's about a place that feeds on memory itself. So turn down the lights, put your headphones on, and let me take you inside the house that remembers. So here's the story. The door closed behind them with a heavy click. Not the casual slam of old wood, but something deliberate, as if the house had sealed itself. The 5 exchanged nervous glances. "All right," muttered Jason, the tall, broad-shouldered one who always acted like the leader. "We look around, take some pics, and go. Nothing weird here, just stories." Mia stayed close to her best friend, Claire, whose quiet nature made her seem almost translucent in the dim hallway. Behind them trailed Evan, Jason's younger brother, lanky and restless, and Zoe, who tried to mask her nerves with sarcasm. The entryway smelled of damp wood and iron, like wet coins pressed into the nose. Faded wallpaper peeled in long strips, curling like dead skin. A staircase stretched upward into darkness, but the group moved into the living room, their phone flashlights cutting thin cones of light through the gloom. "Creepy, but not terrifying," Zoe said, nudging a chair that looked like it hadn't been touched in years. Dust puffed up around her hand. But then the room changed. Not all at once, just small details that none of them noticed immediately. The wallpaper color shifted slightly, aligning with shades that each of them recognized from somewhere in their past. A picture frame tilted to show a photograph that hadn't been there seconds before. It was Mia who noticed first. She froze, staring at a frame above the fireplace. That's my dad!" The others turned. In the dim light, a photograph of a smiling man in work clothes, arm around a little girl, looked out at them. The girl was Mia, maybe 8 years old. Jason frowned. "How the hell—" The photograph blinked. Not a trick of dust or shadow. The man's eyes blinked, and for a split second, his smile trembled into a grimace. Mia stumbled backward, nearly tripping over the rug. "That's not possible," she whispered. "That photo was destroyed." As the words left her mouth, the walls trembled faintly, like lungs taking in air. Let's keep moving," Jason said quickly, gripping her arm and guiding her toward the hall. But his own hand was shaking. The hallway beyond seemed longer than it should have been. Lights flickered in places where no bulbs hung. The group moved in a tight cluster, every sound amplified, their footsteps, the breathing, the faint groan of wood under weight. And then Evan stopped. "What's that?" he asked, pointing to a door half open on the left. Inside, dim shapes moved. Not shadows, but people. 4 figures sitting around a dinner table. The group edged closer. Jason swung the door wide. Inside sat Evan's family, his mother, his father, himself as a child, and Jason as a teenager, all frozen in mid-bite at a dinner table that glowed with sickly yellow light. Evan's mother looked up, and her eyes locked onto his with sudden, awful awareness. "You left me," she whispered. Evan's knees buckled. "No, The figures around the table began to move, jerky, puppet-like, their jaws opening too wide. His childhood self lifted a fork and drove it into his own hand, blood spattering across the tablecloth. Evan screamed and staggered back. Jason grabbed him, dragging him out of the room as the figures lurched up from their chairs, faces twisting into something skinless and raw. The door slammed behind them on its own. Zoe cursed under her breath. "What the hell is this place?" "The house knows us," Claire said softly, her voice trembling. It remembers." They didn't ask how she knew. They just kept moving, deeper into the house that seems to grow and twist around them. The group splintered slowly, not by choice, but by the house's design. Mia was lured toward a hallway where she heard her father's voice calling her name. She followed despite Claire's protests, vanishing into darkness before anyone could stop her. Jason and Evan argued, Jason trying to keep control, Evan unraveling after what he's seen. Zoe clung to humor like a lifeline, cracking jokes that no one laughed at. Claire whispered prayers under her breath, sensing the house feeding on every emotion. Rooms changed depending on who entered. For Zoe, the walls filled with mirrors showing not her reflection, but dozens of versions of herself. Every mistake, every cruel word, every regret. They laughed at her, pointing, until one reflection shattered its glass prison and dragged itself into the room. For Jason, the flooring of one room dissolved into a battlefield, memories of a car crash he had caused years ago. The friend he'd lost staring at him up from broken glass, asking why he got to live. For Claire, silence followed her. Rooms emptied when she entered, but whispers coiled in her ears, reminding her how invisible she had always been, how easy it would be to stay here forever, unnoticed, forgotten. The house separated them, trapping each in loops of memory that felt endless. Every scream echoed through the halls but reached no ears. Mia relived the night her father died over and over, unable to change the outcome. Evan fought against grotesque puppets of his family, each one accusing him of abandonment. Zoe clawed at endless mirrors, bleeding as her other selves tried to take her place. Jason stood before his dead friend again and again, forced to crash, forced to watch, forced to survive when he didn't want to. Claire wondered, her own loop quieter but no less cruel, an eternity of being unseen, untouched, her voice swallowed by the house. Hours or days bled together. Time was meaningless here. And all the while, the house remembered. It stored their screams, their guilt, their pain, adding them to its archive of human suffering. One by one, their resistance faded. Some gave in faster than others. Mia stopped fighting, her body slumping into her father's arms, becoming part of the memory forever. Evan tore at the walls until his hands broke, then knelt at the dinner table, taking his place among the grotesque meal. Zoe clawed at endless mirrors, bleeding as her other selves tried to take her place. Jason stood before his dead friend again and again, forced to crash, forced to watch, forced to survive when he didn't want to. Claire wandered, her own loop quieter but no less cruel, an eternity of being unseen, untouched, her voice swallowed by the house. And the house remembered. It stored their screams, their guilt, their pain, adding them to its archive of human suffering. One by one, the resistance faded. Some gave in faster than others. Mia stopped fighting, her body slumping into her father's arms, becoming part of the memory forever. Evan tore at the walls until his hands broke, then knelt at the dinner table,
taking his place among the grotesque meal. Zoe let the reflection drag her through the glass, her laughter echoing once before silence fell. Jason kept fighting longest, punching, screaming, refusing, but in the end, the weight of survival crushed him. His dead friend embraced him, glass cutting into his skin, and Jason finally let go. Only Claire remained. She wandered through halls of silence, calling names that no one answered. Her footsteps faded, her presence dissolved, and the house sighed, content, having fed well tonight.
Morning light touched the rotting wood of the house, but nothing about it looked different. To anyone passing by, it was just another forgotten structure. No one would guess at the voices whispering within the walls, or the new memories etched into its bones. The house didn't chase, it didn't lure, it only waited, patient and eternal, for the next group foolish enough to step inside. And when they did, the house would remember them too. Their laughter, their pain, their screams, filed away like photographs in a collection that could never be destroyed. Because the house never forgets, and it always hungers.